Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Swing Shift Trades. My name's Matt and this is a channel aimed at beginners and intermediates who want to speed up that process and get comfortable with trading as soon as possible. Just a quick reminder, I've been trading for half a decade, coming from a background of very little knowledge up to being a consistently profitable trader. So for anyone interested, I'm a swing trader. So I work off the 4-hour charts and I look for these smooth oscillations up or down, trying to hop in at the right time and then sell at the right time. And I trade long. So anyone interested in finding out more about that strategy, then you've come to the right place. We're really going to get stuck straight in today. So I'm going to go through my usual routine. Anyone who watches this channel already knows about this, but at least 2 or 3 times a week, I will look through the stocks. I work on the American exchanges, and then we will identify useful stocks or stocks we like and then transfer them over to our watch list and then decide whether to make or trade or not. So let's hop straight in and go through it. So anyone new to this channel, welcome, and you'll pick up this process, this strategy pretty quickly. Right, we're over at the charts here. So as any of you know that follows this channel, I usually start with the stock screener here. So I use this to screen the stocks that I'm interested in. So a quick recap here. I'm usually interested from stocks priced $2 to $6. And I'm looking for those stocks that have changed by more than a drop in 10%. Over a 1-week period. So what I'm really looking for those stocks that have gone down, and I might be able to catch them on the way up. So the whole purpose of this session is to go through, I do this about 3 times a week. So when I've put these values in from $2 to $6 and a change in -10, I'll press the refresh. And then what I'll do is look at this first column here. And in here, I've got the performance drop in 1 week. And you'll see here, there's a lot of stocks that have dropped. And I'll probably go down, depending on how many returned, down to about 20%. So I'll identify these stocks and I'll look through them manually down to about 20% drop, see if any of them meet my criteria, and then put them on my watch list. So if you're new to this channel, I'll show you how to do that and then how to put them over to your watch list, and then you can make a decision whether you want to take them in the future. So here we go. Let's get cracking. So let's go to the top stock, price $2.44 US, dropped 40%. So I look through all these individually and manually. Now, the reason why I do this manually just for those stocks is because it keeps me practiced. It keeps me practiced in looking at the charts. So what you do is you right click and open Super Charts, and another window will open here. This is my setup. For anyone who doesn't know this, very briefly, I've been through it many times before, is I work on the 4-hour candles here. And what I'm really looking forward to in a perfect chart is oscillations up and down. And I try and catch the swing at the bottom to catch the up or the long position. To help me make my decisions, I just use 2 indicators as well, just to support that decision. And that is the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence. I look for this crossover before making a buy if it matches with the price action. And also my secondary indicator is the RSI. That is all the indicators that I use. I also will, before I place a trade, have a look at any breaking news just to see if it's relevant to my trade. I'm largely a technical trader. And then based on all that, I will make my decision to buy. But the first thing is getting any good stocks onto my watch list over here. So what about this one? We've called this stock up on the super charts. Now really I'm looking for these, as I've said, these oscillations up or down. This one, it hasn't really got a history. It has dropped and it looks like it might be on the up, but there's not enough history for me to make a decision. So this would not go on my list. So it's closed down. Then I move along to the second one. Here we go. It's that simple. Open the super chart. What I would do is I normally expand the view just of the chart. So here we go. That just takes away the indicators at the beginning. So this is important. The reason I do that is that nothing replaces just looking at the charts becoming familiar with the charts, and then making your decisions, because the indicators are just there to supplement your decision. What have we got here? We've moved on to AARD. Let's have a look. So there does seem to be some evidence of oscillations over time. It's dropped back. There might be an area of support here. So one might expect it might bounce and then come up. Now, again, this hasn't happened regularly. It's just happened once in the past. So I would grade this as a B or C grade because there hasn't been a long history of nice oscillations. So I'll put it on my chart for now, the watch list to examine further. How do I do that? I can close this chart now. Go back to the stock screener. I'll mark it and then add to watch list. If I open the tab up here, it's been added to my watch list. So it's that simple. Let's see what we've got. Open the chart. Not a long history again. There's been this sudden drop. I'm not really a fan of big drops like this because it means something pretty important, catastrophic or otherwise has happened. So it's not really reliable for me. I don't like taking those kind of trades. So that is not for me. I'll close. Moving down, we're on to 25% drop in the last week now. What have we got here? So we've had these some oscillations. It's gone up, it's gone down, it's gone up, but they're not smooth. And looking within these candles, there's a lot of variation here, which I don't like. So that's what's called choppy. They're choppy. So, on an instinctive level, what you might think is it might bounce here, but there isn't really a good, clear evidence of support or resistance. So I'm going to be brutal. I'm not going to look at this stock. Again, I'll open up the chart. ZSTK. It looks like there's an overall downturn, but you guessed it. What I'm looking for is an area of support and resistance, and there doesn't seem to be one here. It's dropped further than the last area here. So I'm being brutal, sticking to my strategy. That is not going to be chosen. QTLE. So again, I'll expand this. It's been sort of a long drop over an extended period of time. There's been some big movements here, but overall it's not consistent. It's a bit choppy, a bit messy, and I try and steer clear away from those trades. So again, you could argue there's an area of support here, but it hasn't really been that repeatable. So I'm going to drop that. So you get the idea. Once you've got some experience with looking at these charts, it literally takes a few seconds. So on this stock, there has been a drop. Looks like it's on the up in a long, but you guessed it. There's not a good history of oscillation. Makes it difficult to predict what's going to happen. I'm dropping that one. So you can see how brutal I am. Once you've got that strategy, once you're looking for those areas of support and resistance, you try not to second guess yourself. You stick to it and you're brutal with it. And over time, that is the key. You'll become consistent. And then when you start to make consistent decisions, it gives you a grounding, and that gives you the best shot overall of becoming profitable because you're sticking to a strategy. Let's continue going down. See what we've got. Have we got anything interesting? So some of these candles, these 4-hour candles, are again a bit choppy. There does seem to be an area here of support and resistance. So you could argue here, here, and here. If I move along, that's about it. And this has been sort of a drop. If it was much steeper than this, I'd discount it straight away. But I would again give this a C grade, but I will put it on my watch list so that I can re-examine it after a quick scan. So I'll put this on AQMS. So we close that down. I'll label it and then I'll put it to my watch list. And there we go. It appears over here. So you can see slowly we're populating our watch list. And if you go through this same process and you get more comfortable, I should say, with looking at these charts, what will happen is if you forget to label them, you'll start picking out the same stocks. And if you start picking up the same stocks more than once, that's when you know that you're getting used to looking at patterns or chart patterns. So we are already down to 20% here. Let's have a look at this one. So that was a 20% loss in a week. Do any of these look like they're going to swing upwards? That is the simple question. So we've got an area of support and resistance around here. If you take that as the level, it's broken through it. But there is another level down here to here. So I would say about this chart, it is a C grade again. There does seem to be some evidence that there might be a bounce here, but it's not repeated. It's only been repeated once here. And there's been a lot of alternating price action in the meantime. So it's not a guaranteed, although one might think it might go up. It's not a good trade. This is borderline. So I think I'll leave that for the moment. I don't really, as soon as you say to yourself, something's borderline, it becomes a guessing game. And if it's a true guessing game, it's probably best to leave it. Right, where are we? We're down to 20.59. So normally I'd stop at 20, but we didn't have that many stocks that had dropped that far. So if there aren't that many, sometimes I will continue. So in this case, I'll keep going and look at a few more. So here what we've got, there has been a drop here, but there's been no history of an oscillating stock price. So I am going to leave this. So I'm going to bore you with saying it, but that is what I'm after. It's that simple. So stick to your guns and look for those stocks that meet your criteria. And if they do, then you're not chasing. In my opinion, if you're chasing stocks, then you've already lost. Right, this is Roller, ROLR. Just zooming in and out here. There seems to be a downtrend recently, so difficult to predict when that might come up. So that's gone as well. So you have to be pretty brutal with your stocks. I think I'll stop here and I'll go through a few others. If any of them are interesting, I'll come back to you. So hang on there a moment. Right, in that interlude, I looked down to those stocks that were a minus 18%, and there were none that really jumped out at me. So over here at this moment, I've got, what's that, 5 stocks on my watch list. So let's have a quick look through them and justify why they're there. So to do that, I will close down that chart. So let me run through these that I've got on my watch list and why. Here we have these long-term oscillations. It went up, it went down, it's ranging a bit. So my feeling is it might go up. So that's when, if I have a feeling based on these oscillations, based on this price action that it might go up, then I'll use my MACD as a confirmatory indicator. So what I'm really looking for is this intersection, this crossover. And if it crosses over and the histogram is dark green indicates momentum, then I will take that trade. So, or I'll think about taking that trade. So it's not quite there yet. So, as many of you know, the nuance here is the MACD is not a very good indicator in a ranging market, and that is what is happening here. It's ranging a bit. So as this is dark green already, plus the feeling is it might go up, and my experience sort of indicates that it might go up, and the RSA is indicating up momentum, then I might well take this stock. I will keep a close eye on this. Moving down, again, we've got another area here. The stock's coming up, but it might have hit a peak here. So again, you can see the momentum here is dropped, indicated by these light green histograms. So I will probably not take this trade at the moment. In fact, I'll move it down. I've just moved it down the scale here. What we've got here, there was an area of support here, but it seems to have broken through here. So it's broken the trend. There's another area if you go back of support back here, but this is looking a little tenuous because it's broken the recent areas of support. So I'm going to remove that at the moment. I've got aardvark here. Yes, this was a drop that's too big. So I am going to remove this. There's no historical, reliable, repeatable price action. So that's off for me. We've just looked at this one earlier. There's an area of support here, historical area. Again, it's not that convincing. We've got one area of support here and broadly around this area. So one might expect it to bounce somewhere around here. So again, I'll keep this on my watch list. If the momentum picks up, we get a crossover into the dark green, which is indicative of momentum, then I might take that trade. But this is a C grade, so I am cautious about this one. And this is the last one, the butterfly. I moved this down previously, I think, but again, you can see it's lost its momentum here, so it probably wouldn't be a good stock to take. And again, you can see it here, the price action is leveling off. Now, there is no certainty in trading, so it's quite possible this might shoot up again or it might duck down. Anyone who says they can reliably, 100% of the time, predict what's going to happen here, I wouldn't believe them. So the best strategy for me is to focus on those stocks that meet your criteria so that you're not chasing and then you can make a decision based on your experience. So for me at the moment, it seems this stock is losing momentum for me and there's no clear area of resistance. So yeah, I'm going to drop this stock. So really, there are only two at the moment that I'm interested in. So what I'll do now is if I'm interested in these two, I'll order them. Which one superficially, which one based on my criteria look like they're the most positive stocks. So this one's gone up 7% in since. So this one's gone up 7% already today. So I may have missed the boat on that one. The momentum is green. On the aqua, it's ranging a bit. I'll wait for that crossover and the green. So I might be able to catch this at the bottom. So on these two stocks, I would move this up to my preference. So the next thing I do is set an alarm. So what I'll do is I'll go to the MACD here and I'll add an alert and I'll click this from falling to rising, and then I'll give myself a message. And it's a very simple message. Keep it as simple as possible because you'll be doing this again and again. And I'll put AQMS, MACD, just to remind me that it's a MACD crossover. And then apply, and then create. And then you'll see that this, if I click on my alerts, it's there on my alert. So my alarm will go off on my phone to tell me that that stock might be ready to buy. So there you go. They're the stocks that I'm interested in. So in summary, I'm waiting for this one. The Aqua Metals at the moment is the stock that I'm looking at. It's got some evidence of oscillation, and I hope to catch it with verification from my indicator. And if that crosses and it still looks good to me based on my experience, then I might take that trade, and I'll let you know what the outcome of that was in the next video. So I hope I didn't rush through that too quickly, but the main takeaway message from this is really to get used to looking at the charts. Just very simply look for those oscillations. Over time, you'll start to see them really quickly. And then with a little bit of verification from your indicators, you can make that decision to buy or not to buy. It really is that simple, but a word of warning here. Of course, trading is tricky. There is no reliable method that will guarantee you 100% which direction the share price will go. And anyone who tells you any different is not telling the truth, in my opinion. So what you're really trying to do, on balance, is to get more of your trades right and in profit. And then if you do lose, is to cut early and have less of them. And that is really done by developing a strategy, developing your experience by looking at the charts, and then having just a few indicators to help you make that decision. So if you keep watching this channel, we can go through that process so that you've got a shot at the balance being in your favor and therefore being profitable over time. So I hope you found that interesting. Don't forget, these are rolling videos. So every week I will go through that strategy, what stocks to pick, why I pick them, and then follow their progress. And over time, hopefully that will form part of your routine as well and speed you along to becoming a profitable trader, at least giving us a shot at becoming a profitable trader. So if you've got any questions that you want me to address in these videos, do leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to press the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.